Hey there, all you awesome St. Andrews techs. Surprise! We are 1-to-1 in the sanctuary. Dante to inputs on the floor, Dante to channels on the board. The way it should have been from the start. So here we go, here's what's up. As you can see, our Rios have numbers on them. Those are Dante numbers. The XLRs have the corresponding Dante numbers as well. Isn't that so beautifully organized? This is the third Rio underneath the board. And here's our awesome Rios backstage. And as you can see, they are beautifully numbered with numbers on the XLRs. And down here where we jump to the different Rio numbers, I actually put the Dante numbers on them so you know exactly where inputs are. And Joe did a wonderful job putting it all back together. Our stage boxes are organized from left to right and then from front to back. So this is box 1 that starts at input 1, Dante 1, board 1. And this guy starts at Dante 7, input 7, and board channel 7. Didn't I do just a wonderful job organizing? Kudos to me for learning how to work the label maker. And then here's this box here, next box in line, 14, 15, 16, and so on. And then it moves over to the other side of the stage because we're reading left to right. That box will start with input 20. Every instrument has been assigned an input. And if you're ever in doubt what input it is, voila, taped to the back or underneath the box is what belongs to that input. I've activated 6 inputs each on these back boxes, and you can see what they go to. This one is using a snake, and 6 of the choir mics will feed into this one. And here's our not so good looking yet choir mic snake, but Joe's gonna fix that up and make it look beautiful. And here's what's happening over in Dante controller land. You can see how beautiful the patchwork is when everything's lined up 1-to-1. But more importantly, since we've assigned inputs to live in certain places, I was able to label the Dante channels so the broadcast mixer doesn't have to make 3 and 4 conversions to find what patch to use. He could actually just look up the name of the instrument that's being used. Which brings me to my next point. It is very, very important that you don't soft patch, because that will confuse the broadcast mixer out of his mind. He will never find the patch. You must use the assigned input for the instrument. So how does this affect us back at the CL5? Well, our channels don't exactly look beautiful anymore because we have inputs just strewn out all over the stage. But that's okay because that is not where they're going to be organized. You can view things in groups over here where I have created custom channels for groups. If you want to see everything drums, you can press the drums one. If you want to see everything that has to do with guitars, including bass guitars, electric guitars, whatever, use that one. Anything that's keys, piano, and I stuck some extra stuff in there, use that one. Anything for vocals, that singing vocals, use this one. And here's one thing to note here. HH1 and 2 will always be assigned as a singing vocal. If we go down here to spoken word, you'll see HH3 will never be a singing vocal. It will always be a spoken word vocal. Now, if you need to change that up for a special occasion, that's fine, but in general, they need to live in the same spot. HH3 always needs to be a spoken word vocal. So, for example, Michael on the traditional service should be using HH3 for his mic, since that's a spoken word. Which brings me to the next point. The teacher pack will always be for whoever is teaching, whether it's Brian, Chap, Megan, Stephen, or a guest. The teacher will always use the teacher pack. But the reason for keeping the teacher on the same pack is also for the broadcast mixer, because that will already be plugged into his mix and he won't have to patch that in. So on this third bank, you'll find yourself toggling between groups of things that you want to see. but in the end for service you'll end back up on your DCA 9 through 16. Over here in the central logic, I have down here on this custom fader the choir, so you can see all the choir mics, make adjustments to whatever. And to use this custom B1 fader, you have to be in output mode there. If you're accidentally in input mode there, it's going to start displaying your 64 Dante inputs. So to view the B1 custom fader, make sure you're in output mode so you can see what's going on there. Okay, here's the next thing. You have all these channels that aren't in any particular order for service, so what you're going to do is create custom faders. I've actually created a custom fader for this coming service, and we're using these two to do what I call a set spill. It's a set spill for everything that it's included in a service. So in this service, as you can see, we're going to have drums, Brandon's guitar, our bass channels, and keys, and then I put under this second custom fader everything else. Here's our vocals. We actually have 4 vocals that are going, and I included our teacher mic and our handheld 3. Over here I included, and these can stay over here at all times. The house return is also what feeds the narthex, the outside, the bathrooms, the cry rooms. The house return is also what I'm using on the broadcast board for backup, just in case the broadcast mixer has to step away for whatever reason. I have my audience mics. Since they're linked, when I move the audience mics, it's going to move that second fader whether you see it or not. But don't forget to monitor your broadcast mix while we're still running broadcast from the board. All the outputs are still in the same position. We haven't moved any of the outputs. The main rule to follow is no soft patching. The minute you soft patch, it will mess with the broadcast mixer's mind to no end. There are blank channels that you can use for plugging in other instruments or other inputs as you need. Even though our inputs are dedicated to an instrument, we'll still need to use scenes, one for modern, one for traditional, because your DCAs are going to change between scenes, and your set spills, remember these custom faders right here, your set spills for a specific service, those will be changing between services. Let's take a quick look at how to set up set spills. They call them custom faders. Click Setup, go to User Setup, then choose which custom fader you would like to adjust. If you want to adjust A1, which is this guy right here, you would just click on the number, which it is now, and then start using the select channel to add to the custom fader set or the set spill, and it'll populate. So then when you come back down here and press A1, everything that you put in your set spill will show up. If you don't want something in your set spill, you would press there and just undo the patch and it would clear it out. Well, that's it, all you fun people. Happy mixing!